In Japan, the spear has long been a primary weapon on the battlefield. Additionally, since spears were crafted by swordsmiths, various spears were made by renowned swordsmiths who crafted famous swords. In this video, we will explore the history of Japanese spears, their use on the battlefield, and the wide range of spear types. The spear is one of the oldest stabbing weapons used worldwide since ancient times, characterized by a blade attached to the end of a long handle, especially noted for its stabbing efficiency. In Japan, the spear is referred to as Yari and became the principal weapon on the battlefield during the 16th century, a time of fierce warfare, surpassing other weapons like swords. In terms of size, Japanese spear blades range from about 7.9 inches in length for shorter ones to over 23.6 inches for longer ones. Including the handle, spears can range from about 6.6 feet to as much as 26.2 feet in length, varying by type. The basic structure of a spear includes the blade at the top, followed by the handle. The part of the handle near the blade, known as tachi-uchi, is designed to receive strikes from an opponent's sword. Below this is a feature known as chidome, which prevents blood from flowing down to the grip. The rest of the length forms the handle that is held. At the lower end of the handle is a metal part called the ishizuki. This is the part that touches the ground when the spear is held upright. Not only did it serve to stabilize the spear, but it could also be used to thrust or strike an opponent. Therefore, it was made very robust and often had a sharp point. There are several types of cross-sections for the blades of spears. The most standard is the triangular cross-section, which is specialized for piercing. Other types include a diamond-shaped cross-section with double edges, and some that have the same cross-section as a sword with a single edge, allowing not only for stabbing, but also for slashing an opponent. More details on the types of spears and their handling will be discussed later. The history of the spear is extremely ancient in Japan, with its usage dating back to before the Common Era. Initially, these were stone spears, primarily used for hunting animals and also as religious talismans. Stone spears were used for a long period, similar to stone clubs and axes. But around the 3rd century, as bronze technology was introduced from China, along with pikes, stone spears were quickly replaced and disappeared from use. Afterwards, pikes became widespread and played a major role in combat. These were weapons intended for thrusting at enemies, becoming the oldest form of polearm in Japan. The blade sections of these pikes were often diamond-shaped and resembled swords in their form. They were generally held with one hand, a method arising from a combat style where the other hand held a shield. As time progressed, the design of the pike evolved. During the Heian period, pike blades became longer and gradually changed shape, leading to the development of the naginata. The naginata later became one of the most iconic weapons in Japan, serving as a highly aggressive weapon that combined features of both swords and spears. With the introduction of the naginata, traditional pikes fell out of use in combat, and were only occasionally used for ceremonial purposes. Though early pikes closely resembled what is known today as the spear, their presence faded with the emergence of the naginata. So, when exactly did the spear as we know it appear? In the 14th century, what is considered one of the earliest forms of the spear appeared here. This was the kikuchi yari, characterized by a short blade of about 8 inches, attached to a long handle, extending the overall length to around 98 inches. Despite the short blade, it boasted significant power and is regarded as a precursor to the well-known spears of today. There are theories suggesting that the spear was introduced from China or evolved from pikes, but the exact origins remain unclear. Following the introduction of the kikuchi yari, spears became more prevalent. During this period, Japan saw significant changes in the methods of warfare, with a heavy reliance on lower-ranked soldiers and mass combat on foot becoming the norm. Additionally, the ease of mass-producing spears made them highly popular among lower-ranked soldiers. Between the 14th and 16th centuries, the spear reached its peak and became a principal weapon in battles. Various types of spears emerged, among which the suyari was a basic model featuring a straight blade without branches and a sleek, straight handle, resembling a clean, rod-like spear overall. Throughout the tumultuous 16th century, as battles raged across Japan, feudal lords recognized the importance of group tactics in warfare, with the spear playing a critical role. The Hojo clan extended their spears from about 14.8 feet to about 17.7 feet by 1582. Similarly, Oda Nobunaga, in 1553, armed 50 of his retainers with spears approximately 20.7 feet long. At that time, spears of such lengths, 17 to 20 feet, were commonly used in battles, underscoring their prominence in the tactics of Japanese warfare. On the battlefield, long spears were primarily used by lower-ranked soldiers in group tactics. A formation known as Yari involved these soldiers lining up side by side, with the spearheads stuck into the ground to fix the spears in place. This setup allowed them to counterattack against incoming enemy cavalry. By injuring the horses and dismounting the riders, the soldiers could then deliver the finishing blows with katana. Another method involved soldiers simultaneously swinging their spears vertically downward to crush enemies from above. The force generated by flexing the long spears to strike at enemies, such as on their heads, was tremendous, said to deliver several times the impact of thrusting attacks. The technique of striking downward with spears, requiring less skill than precisely thrusting at an opponent, was actively employed. Thus, spears were not only used for stabbing, but also for striking, making them effective even when long and cumbersome to handle. While we've primarily discussed lower-ranked soldiers so far, it's important to note that spears were not limited to them. Almost all warriors, including higher-ranking samurai, carried spears. Samurai of the upper ranks, who were skilled in spear techniques and had the economic means, typically used sophisticated and challenging spears, such as the Jumonji Yari. Generally, lower-ranked soldiers wielded mass-produced spears, longer than about 13.1 feet, while samurai and cavalry used shorter, high-quality spears. As the Sengoku period ended and the Edo period began, the spear evolved into a symbol of a samurai's status. Official outings by the warrior class invariably included retainers carrying spears, a demonstration of power. Similarly, just as swordsmanship was popular, so too was spear technique, with many samurai refining their skills with the spear. There are various types of spears, but let's introduce some representative ones. Yari is the most basic form of spear. Its blade is straight, and the shaft is simple and rod-like. Within this category, those with longer shafts are called Nagaya-yari, with blade lengths ranging from 3.5 to 5.9 inches, and an overall length of about 13.1 to 19.7 feet. This type of spear was commonly used by lower-ranked soldiers in group battles. Another type within the Suyari category is the Omiyari, which features a longer blade of 23.6 to 27.6 inches or more, and an overall length of 6.6 to 9.8 feet. Due to the longer blade, it weighs over 11 pounds. The most famous spear, known as Nihongo, is one of this type. Jumonji-yari features a cross-shaped blade. Apart from its primary thrusting function, the branches of the Jumonji-yari can inflict damage even if the main thrust is parried, and they can also be used to hook and trip an opponent. There are several variations of this design, all of which are challenging to master and, importantly, considered luxurious, making them favored weapons of high-ranking samurai. Even in ukiyo-e paintings from hundreds of years ago, it is common to see daimyo and other high-ranking warriors holding Jumonji-yari. We hope you enjoyed this exploration into the world of Japanese swords. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content about the history of Japanese swords. Until next time, sayonara.